we already recording?
Oh, it's, yeah.
Holy smokes! Hi, I'm Mark McElligott, last surviving member of the Flying McElligotts of Trapeze fame. Here, this is my friend John Warren. We're here to explain our new project, a little gig we've got going right now called Good Creatures.
A lot of the old characters in literature, Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, all of that is public domain. So you can basically put together an idea using all these characters in literature that are popular and start out with something that people are already familiar with. So you don't have to sell them on a new idea. So the premise being that the time traveler from the time machine comes back through history to recruit a bunch of different monsters in order to go into the future and save his love of his life from other monsters. So basically monsters to fight monsters. But it gives it a way of connecting all the storylines together, so you're working with something that goes through history and gathers all the best monsters or creatures together into one storyline.
Absolutely. So, and Morlocks, it's, the way we're going to depict them, it's kind of like an army of Bigfoot. That's kind of fun. That could be interesting. They could give trouble to any monster or group of monsters. So we're having a blast, really, toying with the ideas, how these characters interact with each other, where they come from, because you've got a time traveler gathering monsters. Now, granted, a lot of them the stories were written in the late 1800s, so you've got the Time Machine was written in the late 1800s, early 1900s. You've got Frankenstein, you've got Dracula. They were all kind of, but then you've got being that the time traveler is what he is, he can go wherever he wants to gather these. So we have him grabbing a werewolf from the late 60s, early 70s, who has a whole different vernacular, whole different style, a whole different mindset than these other characters who are much older. Then you got the Mummy, who is much, much older. Then you got a character like the Creature, which isn't the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but it's generally a Creature from the Black Lagoon type creature without it being actionable. But we go all the way back to prehistoric times to scoop him up. And he has a whole different means of communication that has to be done through a third party. And we've got some interesting characters, and their interactions are going to be very interesting. It's not going to be just a slugfest. There's delving into the minds of these characters and how they would see each other, how they would interact. What would Dracula, in his great ego, do when faced with a pharaoh, leader of countries? How would that play? And we're having fun with that. We're having fun with that aspect of it. So it'll be interesting, even in the non-action moments, because there's going to be some curious interplay.
Now, it basically started with the conversation that you had with Jim Shooter.
Yes. He was explaining to us that getting into the comic business these days it isn't what it used to be. Editors, they don't want your submissions anymore, because what you do is you send stuff in and they don't like it, or it's not up to par, or it's just not, they're not looking for somebody at the moment. That thing gets shelved, and then 6-8 months down the line, 2 years down the line, they produce something that's similar to something you showed them in your submission, and now you've got a lawsuit against them. They don't need the drama, so they're not even looking at submissions anymore. They're not looking at people coming in with new ideas, because it's litigation. They don't want to deal with that. So what he suggested to us was that we get an online presence, because that's how things are done today. If you want to succeed, what you need to do is you need to come to one of the big companies, Marvel, DC, with a ready-made audience. You need to come to them with a successful project that's already drawn attention, that's already established. And that's how it's done these days if you want to succeed and still be in the business.